Have you ever noticed how blood pressure seems to become a nighttime problem for so many older adults? It behaves during the day, then by evening the ankles feel a little tighter, the face feels a little warmer, sleep feels a little lighter, and suddenly the question becomes, is there something simple you can eat at night that actually helps instead of making things worse? Because a lot of people do the opposite without realizing it. A bowl of ice cream, a few crackers, some salty peanuts, leftover takeout, maybe a couple cookies with tea. It feels harmless. It feels small. But from a blood pressure standpoint, that tiny bedtime habit can quietly matter much more than people think. And I want to be very clear from the start. This is not going to be one of those videos where somebody throws random superfoods on the screen, calls them miracle snacks, and acts like hypertension disappears because you ate 3 almonds at 9 p.m. That kind of advice is not useful. What's useful is understanding what your body is actually dealing with at night, especially as you get older, and why certain foods can support that process while others work directly against it. So today, I want to walk you through 7 bedtime snacks most seniors do not know can help support healthier blood pressure. But more importantly, I want to explain why these snacks make sense. The minerals involved, the way sodium and potassium push against each other, the role of magnesium, blood vessel relaxation, sleep quality, and even why the wrong nighttime snack can sabotage the next morning. Because once you understand the mechanism, the list stops feeling random. It starts feeling obvious. And when something feels obvious, it becomes easier to remember and much easier to follow. So let's build this from the ground up. The first thing we need to talk about is what happens to blood pressure at night. In healthy physiology, blood pressure usually dips during sleep. That nighttime drop matters. It gives the cardiovascular system a kind of recovery window. But in many older adults, that dipping pattern becomes weaker. Sometimes because of stress, sometimes because of poor sleep, sometimes because of medication timing, sleep apnea, excess sodium, or just age-related changes in how the body regulates blood vessels and fluid balance. Now, food is not the only factor here. It would be silly to pretend it is, but food can absolutely influence the environment your body is working with before sleep. A heavy, salty snack can increase thirst, raise overnight fluid retention, disturb sleep, and load the bloodstream with more sodium right before the body is supposed to be settling down. A smarter snack does the opposite. It stays light, keeps sodium low, and gives you nutrients that are repeatedly associated with healthier blood pressure patterns, especially potassium, magnesium, calcium, fiber, and unsaturated fats. There is also a second issue that becomes more important with age, and that is sleep itself. Poor sleep and high blood pressure have a two-way relationship. Bad sleep can make blood pressure control harder, and uncontrolled blood pressure can make sleep worse. So the ideal nighttime snack does not just avoid harm. It supports a calmer metabolic state. It should not be huge. It should not be sugary. It should not be salty. And if possible, it should bring something to the table that helps blood vessels relax, helps the body handle sodium better, or helps sleep become deeper and less fragmented. That is the frame for everything that follows. These are not cures. These are not replacements for medication. They are simply smart nighttime options that fit what the body is trying to do. Before we get to the list itself, there is one biological principle that makes almost every smart blood pressure diet make sense. Sodium pulls one way, potassium pushes the other way. When sodium intake stays high, the body tends to hold onto more fluid, and that increases the pressure inside the system. Potassium helps the body excrete more sodium and eases tension in blood vessel walls. That is one reason dietary patterns like DASH keep showing up in blood pressure research. They are not built around one miracle food. They are built around repeated exposure to the same helpful nutrients. Magnesium belongs in this conversation too. Magnesium helps regulate muscle and nerve function, and blood vessels rely on that balance. Now, I want to phrase this carefully because this is where health content often becomes exaggerated. Magnesium is not a magic switch, and research on supplements shows only modest blood pressure effects overall. But foods naturally rich in magnesium still fit beautifully inside a blood pressure supportive evening routine, especially when they replace processed salty snacks. And then there is calcium, which does not get as much attention in these conversations as potassium and magnesium, but it matters too. Dairy foods that are lower in sodium and lower in added sugar can quietly pull a lot of weight here because they offer calcium, protein, and often potassium in one place. So when you hear me mention yogurt or cottage cheese tonight, that is the logic behind it. Now let me show you what this looks like in actual food. Snack number 1 is plain Greek yogurt with sliced kiwi. This combination is much better than it first appears. Greek yogurt gives you calcium, protein, and potassium. Kiwi brings even more potassium, along with fiber and vitamin C. And potassium matters because it helps counter the effects of sodium. The more potassium-rich foods you eat, the easier it is for the body to excrete excess sodium through urine, and that changes the pressure load inside the blood vessels. But kiwi has another interesting angle. It has been studied for sleep quality, and that matters because better sleep and better blood pressure often travel together. So when you put plain Greek yogurt and kiwi together, you get a snack that is light, easy to digest for many people, naturally low in sodium if you buy the unsweetened kind, and supportive from more than one direction. The key word here is plain, not dessert yogurt, not the one with candy at the bottom. Plain Greek yogurt. Add the kiwi yourself. That one change takes the snack out of the sugary breakfast category and puts it into the useful bedtime category. Snack number 2 is a small banana with a spoonful of unsalted nut butter. This one works because it gives you potassium from the banana and magnesium plus healthy unsaturated fats from the nut butter. Bananas are one of the easiest ways to increase potassium intake without overcomplicating your evening. And almonds or peanuts, when they are unsalted and used in small amounts, add enough fat and protein to slow digestion and make the snack feel steady rather than sugary. That steadiness matters. A bedtime snack should not create a fast blood sugar surge followed by a drop that leaves you restless, hungry again, or awake at 2 a.m. The nut butter changes the rhythm of the snack. It makes it gentler, and gentler is exactly what you want at night. The important detail here is unsalted. The whole point is to build a snack that supports the system, not one that sneaks sodium in through the back door. Snack number 3 is a small bowl of oatmeal with chia seeds. I really like this one because oats solve multiple problems at the same time. They bring soluble fiber, especially beta-glucan, which has been studied for cardiovascular benefits. They are warm, soft, and usually easy for older adults to chew and tolerate. They help you avoid the processed, salty snacks that so often show up at night. And when you add chia seeds, you bring in magnesium, fiber, and a little extra staying power. There is also something psychologically useful about oatmeal. It feels comforting, but it does not have to be destructive. That matters because many people snack at night not out of true hunger, but because they want something soothing. A modest bowl of oats can fill that role far better than chips or packaged sweets. Just keep the portion modest and skip the sugary instant packets. If the oats taste like dessert, the benefit starts to disappear. A little cinnamon is fine. Half the sugar aisle is not. Snack number 4 is a handful of unsalted pistachios or walnuts. Nuts are one of the most practical blood pressure-friendly snacks because they are concentrated sources of magnesium, healthy fats, and in some cases potassium and plant compounds that support vascular health. Pistachios are especially interesting because they have been studied in relation to cardiometabolic health and make a very convenient nighttime portion. Walnuts bring their own advantage through polyunsaturated fats and an overall pattern that fits both DASH and Mediterranean-style eating. But this is where portion size matters a lot. A handful is a snack. Half a container is an event. Nuts are healthy, but they are also easy to overeat while watching television. So if you want the benefit, portion them before you sit down. Do not snack from the bag. If you want an easy visual rule, think small bowl, not family-size pouch. That one decision can turn a smart snack into an accidental calorie dump. Snack number 5 is cottage cheese with a few berries. Now, I know cottage cheese is not glamorous. It may be the least glamorous food in this entire video, but nutritionally, it deserves more respect than it gets. It gives you protein, calcium, and a filling texture that can prevent the late-night drift into cookies, crackers, or toast. When you add berries, you bring fiber and polyphenols without creating the sugar load of juice, cake, or sweet cereal. For seniors in particular, this matters because the nighttime snack often turns into a sodium problem or a sugar problem. Cottage cheese can solve the second issue, but you do need to watch the first. Choose a lower sodium version when possible, because some brands are surprisingly salty. That's a detail worth paying attention to. And if berries are not available, even a few sliced strawberries or blueberries from the freezer can do the job once they soften a bit. The principle is simple. Pair the protein with fruit, not syrup. Snack number 6 is raw vegetables with hummus. This might not sound like a bedtime snack to everyone, but it is one of the smartest options if your evening habits tend to drift savory. Carrots, cucumber, bell pepper strips, or snap peas give crunch without sodium overload. Hummus adds fiber, a little protein, and minerals like magnesium and potassium depending on the ingredients. More importantly, this snack replaces a dangerous category of nighttime eating, the salty, crunchy category. Pretzels, crackers, chips, seasoned nuts, popcorn loaded with salt. Those foods can quietly push sodium intake up fast. Raw vegetables with hummus scratch some of that same itch without creating the same blood pressure burden. And if you are someone who says, I don't want sweet food at night, this is the category I would pay attention to most, because the savory night snack is often where sodium starts stacking up without much resistance. And snack number 7 is pumpkin seeds, or pumpkin seeds sprinkled over yogurt or oats. Pumpkin seeds are one of the richest snack-sized food sources of magnesium, and magnesium is involved in blood vessel tone and overall blood pressure regulation. Now, I want to phrase this carefully. Magnesium is not magic, and supplements have shown only modest blood pressure effects in research overall. But magnesium-rich foods still make sense inside a blood pressure supportive eating pattern, especially when they replace salty processed snacks. Pumpkin seeds also have a second advantage. They are easy to add without changing your whole routine. You can keep them in a jar, use a tablespoon or two, and instantly make a simple snack more useful. And that matters more than people think, because the best snack is not the one that sounds impressive. It is the one you will actually repeat. Now, before you run to the kitchen, there are 4 important rules that matter more than the list itself. First, keep the snack small. The goal is to support the night, not restart the day. Most people do better with something light, not a second dinner. If you are standing in the kitchen building a full plate, you have probably moved past snack territory. Second, keep sodium low. This is non-negotiable. A food can sound healthy and still be salty enough to work against you. Read labels, especially on nut butters, cottage cheese, hummus, and packaged seed mixes. A low-quality version of a good idea can still be a bad bedtime choice. Third, timing matters. For most people, the best move is to finish the snack at least a couple of hours before bed, not 10 minutes before lying down. That gives your body time to digest and reduces the chance that reflux, discomfort, or bathroom trips will interfere with sleep. Fourth, watch the drinks that ride along with the snack. A smart snack, followed by a sugary soda, salty broth, or too much caffeinated tea is not really a smart snack anymore. The whole nighttime environment matters. And there is one more thing seniors need to hear clearly. If you have kidney disease or you take medications that affect potassium, some high potassium foods may not be appropriate in large amounts. That does not mean these foods are bad. It means context matters. The body is a system, and systems always depend on context. What I find interesting about all of this is how often blood pressure advice becomes abstract. Eat better, lower sodium, follow a healthy diet. All true, but not very memorable. A specific bedtime decision is much more memorable. What are you reaching for tonight when you're a little hungry and the kitchen light is on? That is where change actually happens. Because blood pressure is rarely shaped by one giant dramatic choice. It is shaped by recurring small choices, night after night, week after week. A bowl of ice cream can be a habit. So can Greek yogurt and kiwi. Salty crackers can be a habit. So can oats with chia. The body keeps score either way. And I think that idea is strangely encouraging. It means you do not need a perfect life to improve the pattern. You need better repeats, better nighttime repeats, fewer processed, salty foods, fewer sugary comfort snacks, more foods that quietly support blood vessels, sleep, and fluid balance. There is also a hidden reason these kinds of snacks work better than typical bedtime foods. They do not force your body into a fight it did not ask for. A sugary dessert can push blood sugar up too quickly. A salty packaged snack can leave you thirsty and puffy by morning. A heavy late sandwich can sit in the stomach when the body is trying to power down. But yogurt, fruit, oats, nuts, vegetables, hummus, and seeds behave differently. They are simpler. They are quieter. They give nutrition without a lot of metabolic noise. And that matters more with age, because the margin for recovering from bad nighttime habits often gets smaller. What you could get away with at 40 may feel very different at 70. That does not mean the body is fragile. It means the body is asking for better timing and better inputs. And when you listen to that request, even in something as small as a bedtime snack, you often make the whole night feel more cooperative. Sometimes the smartest health habit is not dramatic. It is just repeating a choice tonight, then tomorrow. So if you want the simplest version of this entire video, here it is. At night, think light, low sodium, and mineral rich. Choose foods with potassium, magnesium, calcium, fiber, or healthy fats. Keep the portion modest. Give your body a better environment for sleep instead of a worse one. And if you do that consistently, The bedtime snack stops being a random craving and starts becoming one more quiet way of supporting your cardiovascular system. So tonight, before you reach for whatever is easiest, pause for a second and ask a better question. Will this snack help my body settle down, or will it make the night harder? That one question can change a lot over time. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you want, leave a comment telling me which of these 7 snacks surprised you most. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.